Howdy folks, I hope you're doing well. Usually I like to make these videos day and date of their release, but like I said in the last one, the kids are off school and home from college, so that means YouTube takes a back seat so I can spend some time with them. We gotta enjoy this time with them while we can, after all. What you're watching here is just the Natural History Pinball Pack 3 teaser trailer that was put out by AtGames. I'm just looping it in the background here while we get the particulars out of the way. The Natural History Pinball Pack 3 was released on December 23rd, 2024. Since it's brand new to all of us, there's no real history lesson to speak of, other than to say that it was delayed due to the DNS issue, which I'm sure all of you already know about. Hopefully AtGames has learned their lesson. So if the title didn't give it away already, in this one we're comparing the HD to the 4K or the 4K to the HD, whichever you prefer. But there's some caveats. My HD machine is no longer stock. I installed a monitor upgrade kit from Buy Stuff, so now it's running on an LG 2K monitor. The video for that installation should be popping up right about now. Since we have 4 tables that we're checking out today, I'm going to keep the initial gameplay to roughly 30 to 45 seconds for each table. Then we'll go into the side-by-side views of the tables, and I'll give you my thoughts on everything. We're going to go in alphabetical order, starting with the HD version, followed by the 4K. The last thing I want to mention is that the gameplay was shot in 4K at 60 frames a second. With all that stuff out of the way, let's get to it, shall we?
Do not move. Hit a ball into the mouth. Ball 1 is locked. The beast stirs. Multi-ball is lit. Ball combo. Wasp multi-ball! Let the mayhem begin! Kickback is activated. All saved. Do not move. Jackpot! Buzzing bounty! Ball saved. Keep going! Jackpot! Turbulent triumph! Lock is lit. Prepare for final one. Lucky screen reward. 10 million. Bonus times 3. Antibody multi-ball. If you hit one of the flash
So what do you guys think? I guess we'll get started with Dinosaur Dynasty 2. Honestly, initially I found this one to be kind of boring, almost like I couldn't wait for the game to end. But as I played it a second, third, and fourth time, I really warmed up to it. I found trying to hit the lock at the top of the table extremely hard. There were multiple times where the ball would go flying up to the top and you'd think it would lock into place and it would simply just bounce off the locking mechanism. I found that really frustrating. Moving on to Insect World, I found this one to be the hardest of the bunch. Practically everything on the table resets when you lose the ball. I also found the multi-ball to be very hard to hit here as well. Another thing that increases the difficulty here are the kickbacks. The left and right sides are independent of one another. So at least for me, it made it a little difficult for me to get out of the mindset of just clicking one of the flippers to get to try to activate them as the ball came down the ramp. Next up is Nature's Fury. I really enjoyed this one. I'm kind of flip-flopping here between it and the World of Microbes as to which one is my favorite out of these four tables. The multi-ball function here, in my opinion, was pretty easy. So much so that I was able to get the multi-ball 2 to 3 times before ending a round, which really helps run up the score. I also feel like there's a lot of action in this one, especially when you get the timing down. I really liked how during some of the stages or missions, whatever you prefer to call them, that the table would shake, especially when the lightning hit or the ball would get thrown around in an odd direction when there was a weather event, like there's a magnet under the playfield. That was really cool. If there is one bone to pick though when it comes to the weather events, that's with the tornado. It just bumps the ball around the table and moves slowly across the playfield. I would have expected it to suck up the ball, fling it across the table in some sort of violent way. Would it not be how a tornado would react? I think this is one spot where they really dropped the ball, no pun intended, and missed out on an opportunity to show the power of a tornado. One more thing I wanted to note here is with the 4K version of the table. It crashed onto me during the middle of gameplay after losing the last ball during a multi-ball stage. I'll post a short on that a little bit later just to show you guys what happened, but has that happened to any of you? Please let me know in the comments. Last one up is the World of Microbes. This one I found as entertaining as Nature's Fury, if not more so. As I said, I'm still flip-flopping on which is my favorite table. I really enjoyed the call out to Lactobacillus. For those of you that don't know, I worked at a brewery for quite a few years and some of the beers that we brewed were sours, which is one of my favorites. My wife says it matches my disposition. Lacto is one of those neat little bugs that can play an integral part in making a sour. Since it's an acidifying bacterium, it converts sugar to lactic acid, which adds that distinct tartness and acidity. There are several strains that are popular and each strain offers a different characteristic and flavor. Okay, with that out of the way, let's continue on with the gameplay. One of the things that I found funny was the scientist when the multi-ball was activated. The scientist crouches down and waits to grab the ball as it runs down the ramp. To me, it looked like he was crouching to take a shit. Once I got that in my skull, I couldn't get it out. I know, it's juvenile.
Hey, it's me.
This is the only one out of the four tables that has an upper playfield, which I'm usually not a fan of, but in this one it definitely works. When I could get the ball up into the area, I would find it kind of disappointing when the ball would drain out of there and I didn't get the 10 million points. Let's switch things over to the Octobox here and talk about the games as a whole. I'm liking the fact that they limited the number of flippers on these tables. Having 6 to 8 spread across a table is just way too much, and some of us have voiced that opinion in the past. By the looks of it here, they've listened, at least when it comes to this pack. I find the post in the middle of the flippers to be a blessing and a curse. I almost found myself relying on it a little bit too much when the ball came down. It gave me this uneasy sense of security, if you would. And there were times where I expect the ball to hit it and pop up so I could hit it with the flipper, but it would just roll right past it and drain the ball. This frustrated the shit out of me, but I guess that's the post's job, right? Stylistically, these tables are great and I love the animation. The dinosaur and water effects on Dynasty 2 are fantastic. The insects that buzz around in Insect World, they're great. I really like the wasp effect for the multi-ball, or when the spiders pop out to grab the ball for the other multi-ball option. The microbes and the bacteria that float around in the World of Microbes is really cool too. The level of detail that they paid to this stuff really shows that they're putting a lot of effort here to make these tables stand out. I know there were some of us that questioned the idea of AtGames doing a licensing deal with Natural History when it was first announced in 2022, but they're getting better and better over time, and the more I play them, I find myself enjoying them more and more. I guess it's time for me to get into some of the stuff that I'm really not a fan of. I feel like they need to upgrade some of the sound effects here. To me, they just sound dated, especially when it comes to the bumpers and the strike targets. They sound like something you would hear from like an old 70s table, not something new and fresh. While we're talking about sound, I think they need to address some of the voice work. It's almost like they contracted the cheapest guy they could find from Upwork, Backstage, or Voices to do them. I found Dinosaur Dynasty to be the worst out of all of them. It's just another spot where I think they can tighten things up. As far as playing the two side by side, obviously the 4K is going to beat the HD version every time. And it's not just the SSF kit. The tables just look and play better in 4K. Look, I'm not a shill trying to sell 4K machines for AtGames or trying to create some sort of FOMO situation here. It's just being able to play these tables side by side on two machines back to back really shows where the HD has its limitations. Honestly, if you're an HD owner, I wouldn't sweat it. I would look at it this way. It's like when you look at that wall of TVs when you're buying a new one. You stick with your budget. You don't buy something you can't afford. Besides, once you pick it out and you take it home, there's nothing to compare it to. It's not like you're going to notice the issues or blemishes that you would see when it's stacked up against all the other TVs on the wall. This is the way I feel about the HD. There are multiple reasons why my HD is still sitting here side by side with the 4K. And yes, in full disclosure, if you scour for it, you'll find it on Marketplace, but that's basically to appease my wife. She wants it gone since I have a 4K. However, my HD still gets a lot of use, like when the kids have the 4K tied up, or one kid's playing the 4K, they fire up the HD and they go for it. Or they're playing the 4K machine and I'm looking for some OTG action. What I'm trying to say here is the HD is still a damn fine machine. AtGames is still supporting it, which I know was a concern at one point, and they're still putting out packs for it, which, by the way, are cheaper. In the end, these are just my opinions, and they're like,
An asshole!
Everybody's got one. Well, that's it for this one, folks. I know it was a bit of a long one. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down, subscribe, and give me another shot. If there's anything you'd like to see me cover, please let me know. If there's anything you'd like me to change or think I could do better, again, please let me know. If you hung around to the end, thank you for sticking around. I just want to say I appreciate you, I appreciate your time, and as always, stay safe, be well, and take care.